And then another thing that Earthling Ed talks about in his videos are how something I never really thought of, but how some diseases are they come about because of the animal agriculture industry. Like we wouldn't have such problems with some diseases if we didn't have uh, such a large system of killing all these animals. So that's interesting. So it's nice to know that I'm not part of that because I don't consume any animal products. At least I'm not contributing to the uh, the risk of zoonotic diseases. I didn't realize how many diseases came from. Uh, like they didn't. I didn't realize they all these diseases originated from animals. Um, there was one. So he's got some speeches that he did. Um, there was one that he did where he was really his voice. He had a lot of fire in his voice. He was speaking very passionately. I think it was the one called "Enough Is Enough." The video, because usually he's really calm, but in this one he was very emphatic. It's difficult to remain calm though when you see all these videos about how these animals are treated, and you think about the insanity of the world. It's insane. It's insane that all these animals are dying when they don't have to. Because we have all these, like, one thing is, like, people say it's too difficult to be vegan, but there's vegan alternatives for practically everything that they're already eating. There's vegan burgers, there's vegan chicken, vegan ice cream, vegan yogurt, vegan everything everything that is non-vegan, pretty much. There's a vegan version of it, so it's kind of not a very. It's not an excuse to say it. Like what would I eat? You can eat whatever you were eating before, but just a plant-based version of it. But one thing though is they do cost a little more. But it is something I've been working on this year. Is it's more it's healthier to eat a whole food plant-based diet rather than eating uh, all these plant-based uh, junk foods. It's better to eat whole foods. It's better to eat foods that are not overly processed and full of sodium and fat. It's better to eat low fat and low sodium. But if you want to eat these food, all these junk foods, you can, and no animal has to get their throat slit. So that's the good thing about that. Uh, so there's so many excuses and questions that the non-vegans like. They'll say, "Well, if I stopped eating meat, what about all the animals? Well, all the animals that are in the farms, they would just die because." So Earthling Ed makes the point of how it would be a gradual process. The world isn't going to go vegan overnight because all these animals are being bred. Uh, they're being bred into this mass system. So they would slowly, they would stop this being bred into this mass system. So it'd be a gradual process. There wouldn't just be all these animals. They wouldn't be just like released into the wild. So it'd be a gradual process. Supply and demand, that's another thing. Which which is part of the thing is the point he made about like these vegan alternatives. They're the prices would go down on like these burgers and these mock meats. The prices would go down if the demand went up. That's what he said. I'm not remembering everything because I didn't make notes, but there's quite a few questions that he routinely asks these people in these interviews. Uh, Good questions. Like is there such a thing as a humane slaughter? Um, what's more important, taste or life? Should culture dictate morality? And then there's the other thing that uh, excuses or reasoning that non-vegans would say is uh, we humans um, humans survived all these years from eating meat, uh, so they feel like they should be able to continue doing it because we've always ate meat. And Earthling Ed makes the point of just because we did it a long time ago doesn't mean like comparing ourselves to what we did in the past. Like we're not cavemen anymore. I think Freely's made that point too. Just because it's something that humans did in the past, it doesn't mean we're obligated to continue to do it. Just because the cavemen did it doesn't mean we have to continue to do it. We're capable of evolving. That's the way I see it. It's an evolution. It's a better way to do things. To think about. the animals, because we don't need to do it anymore. So that we don't we're not cavemen anymore. We've evolved. We don't need to eat animals. We can eat fruits and vegetables and grains, and we can survive on it. We don't need to kill all these animals. So we're not cavemen anymore. So Earthling Knight, he makes all these good points. Um, like another thing is like people say, well, uh, other animals kill animals, so people should be able to kill animals too, like comparing themselves to a lion. And then he would say how uh, if you're going to compare yourself to a lion, I think he said something really horrible. Like apparently, lions will sometimes kill their cubs. Sounds awful. I'm not sure about all that, but I guess basically sometimes animals in the wild will do it. Like if you're going to compare yourself to a wild animal, other like wild animals, they do some pretty horrible things that we wouldn't, as humans, uh, we wouldn't want to do. We wouldn't deem as acceptable, basically. And then there's the thing about the canines. So we have canines. We have a couple pointy teeth like that. So we should be able to eat animals. Canines. And then so Earthling Ed would make the point. Well, he says how just because we're capable of doing something doesn't mean we should do it. Like that's one thing he says. But like bringing up the thing about the canines, uh, hippos. I think hippos. Is that what he said? Hippos have the largest canines of land mammals, land animals, and they're herbivorous. And gorillas, they have large canines too. So there's these large animals that are living off plants. So that's a good point.